Okay, this is a test. You have your choice, yes or yes, Father. This is a test. You're getting it. Who does Jesus lead up the mountain? Shh. Show off. Peter, James, and John. Okay. Peter's name in Aramaic is Cephas. If you're going to say his name, say it correctly. Cephas. Your Aramaic is very poor. In Greek, that is Petros, which means rocky. Yeah. Peter's a rocky kind of guy, isn't he? I could see Sylvester Stallone being used as the rocky figure. Okay. Now, what is Jesus going to say to Peter? You are Peter, rock, and on this rock I will build my church. Show off again. Okay. So you are rocky, and on this rock I will build my church. A chapter after that, he will say, out of my way, ha-satan, which means stumbling block in Aramaic. So Peter can be the rock, but he can also be the stumbling block if he doesn't keep careful eye on Jesus. James and John, they have a nickname in Greek, Boanerges, sons of thunder. It also means hotheads. Remember, this is the two apostles that want to send down hail and stones from heaven on the poor Samaritans because they didn't like them. Samaritans hated Jews, and Jews hated Samaritans. It had been going on for 400 years. It was a big fight, a family fight. You know how those are. Yes, Father. Okay. So you have rocky stumbling block and the Boanerges boys, the sons of thunder, the hotheads. Who leads them up the mountain? I didn't hear you. Thank you. And what does Jesus mean? Yeshua. God comes to save us. And what's God's formal name? I am there for you. So they go up on top of the mountain to pray. And while they're up there praying, Jesus appears shining. And who's talking to Jesus? No. Thank you for playing. Wrong. A voice comes from the cloud and says, "This is my beloved Son in whom I am well pleased." Then what does it say? Listen to him. He's saying this to Rocky and to the sons of thunder, the hotheads. Listen to Jesus. So Peter perks up and says, Lord, it is good that we are here. We're going to set up a what's the word? Corporate entity. And we're going to make 3 tents here. Tent is a heavy word in Hebrew. Tabernacle is the image of what a tent is. The little tabernacle over there is only a tiny version of what the tabernacle in Jerusalem would have been like, which would have been the size of this room, with a great big curtain across it, and no one went into that room except the high priest once a year on the Day of Atonement, and he'd whisper the name Yahweh. So Peter's pretty impressed. He's babbling along. He's burbling along. And that's when the Father's voice comes through and says, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Listen to him." It's because we don't listen very well, do we? Your 14-year-old is playing on her Game Boy, and you say to her, "Did you put away the dishes?" Listen to me. Your husband forgets your anniversary. What day is today? Tuesday. Listen to me. We were married 28 years ago today. Parents can do that too. Every so often we come to understand what is really transcendent in our life, what really counts in the darndest ways. Like when they put your firstborn on your stomach after you've given birth to the little ungrateful one. And you look and you say, "Oh my God, he's got my mother-in-law's nose. And my father-in-law's ears. Isn't he darling? He's going to go to Harvard after he finishes Cal State LA." Okay? She's going to be a star. The Virgin Mary looked a lot like her when she was small. I was in the Oakland airport the other day. Could have been any airport, but it was Oakland. And this very handsome young dad was looking at his 5-year-old playing on his Game Boy, and the 5-year-old was concentrating heavily on the Game Boy. And the dad was taking photos with his iPhone, probably to send to his wife to say, "Look at how cute our kid is." And it was just a little moment where I saw what the Father feels about us. God the Father feels about us. God would be sending photos via Skype or something of us sitting there playing with a Game Boy, or of us just sitting there sound asleep in our Father's arms. Okay? That's how God feels about us. But we don't listen, do we? We put all sorts of false gods before God. We put all of our anxieties before God. We put all the things that go wrong in our lives before God. And then we say, "Oh Lord, I am not worthy." I'm waiting for the time when I say, "Behold the Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world," and everybody says, "Oh Lord, I am not worthy," and the roof comes off the church and a voice from heaven says, "I know that, come up anyway." Transfiguration. I grew up in Transfiguration Parish in south central LA near Crenshaw in Santa Barbara, now Martin Luther King. And there's a big, beautiful painting of Raphael's Transfiguration over the main part of the altar, right above the altar. And that was embedded on my brain as a little kid. So I love the Gospel of the Transfiguration. It's interesting, my favorite gospel doesn't have it, John's Gospel. I wonder why. Because the whole gospel is a transfiguration. John considered it to be redundant to have transfiguration in his gospel. The whole gospel is a transfiguration. The whole Christian life is a transfiguration, but we're asleep at the wheel. So this Lent, we need to be more aware. We need to listen. The word Lent comes from the Anglo-Saxon word lengthen, which means to stretch. The days stretch out. You found that out this morning when you had to get up an hour earlier, huh? Surprise, it's daylight savings time. Now, is it fall backwards or is it leap ahead? I got here to celebrate this Mass. I know what I'm doing. Stretching. We're to stretch out towards others as they stretch out towards us. And we're to consider that the Father is the Father of us all and calls us to treat one another like brothers and sisters, just like brothers and sisters, but better. But better. My beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased, on whom my favor rests. Listen to him. Listen to one another. Stretch out.